been several months, long months, since COVID began, and I am actually in New York right now. The world changed forever in March of 2020, and up until that time, I had been coming to New York since spring of 2017 for basically 3 years' time, pretty regularly through Fashion Week, for different direct jobs that I would book and things like that. I actually had a regular client that was booking me with footwear jobs, which was such a fun experience. COVID hit. We had just had February Fashion Week, and basically, like, as much of the world thought, we were like, okay, lockdown for a couple weeks, we'll be back to normal straight away. And of course, that did not happen. So in March of 2020, my next trip would have been in June. My June trip got canceled, and I would have had a job during that trip, so that got canceled. And then August rolls around, and August I usually actually come twice to the city. I come for a footwear job, and then I come for Fashion Week. So of course August and September trips got canceled, and then December rolls around, and that's when I would have had another job, and I had to cancel that. February rolls around, we're in 2021 now, the vaccine is starting to roll out in the US, which is great, but the only people that are really eligible for the vaccine are a much older population or in the healthcare world. So that does not include models and stylists and most designers probably. Fashion Week happened, and I chose not to attend because it would have been a repeat of last September where I came and I didn't get anything. So that was February 21, and basically since February of 2021, like, I got my vaccine. I was very, very stoked for that. I thought things are going to go back to normal pretty quickly. And if you're an American, you know that's, or live anywhere, you know that's not the case. This is the last day of August 2021. Fashion Week is going to happen in 8 days, and I'm here in New York to do castings. I just basically thought that this Fashion Week was going to be closer to normal once we all got the vaccine, and that's kind of proving not to be the case. Of course, I can't speak to what will happen because I haven't been cast in anything yet, and I might be able to get a job. I feel pretty lonely right now, and I feel like I'm not myself. Or rather, I am myself, and I'm realizing that me, sometimes being in New York, I become this like different person. I'm very anxious, worried. I don't sometimes leave the place that I'm staying a whole lot. Become very, like, I'm already an introverted person. I become more so introverted, more worried, more anxious, more depressed. These are all like character traits I already have, and they seem to be like heightened when I'm in New York to an extent. There's also extreme highs that I have when I'm in New York, like when I book a job, when I walk a runway, when I have a shoot and I meet other creatives and I connect with people. Like, I can't compare that high to anything else in my life. But by and large, I think I'm realizing, like, especially with COVID in the mix, I'm not going to say it's impossible, because it's not impossible to book jobs right now. It was already extremely challenging to stand out as a model where your competition is strong. While that's very inspiring, it also makes it harder for me to stand out. I'm hoping that tomorrow might be better. I have a shoot that's planned with a photographer I've actually been trying to work with since late 2019, so almost 2 years ago, but then of course COVID hit, and then I do have a casting tomorrow, so I'm hoping that energy will kind of lift me up and like get me back on track. As I've grown older and taken a step away from like chronicling every single part of my modeling journey, because frankly it got pretty exhausting to like keep making videos about stuff that was like, I'm not like a big hit. Like, I have not been super successful every single Fashion Week. I have not gained as many clients as I want. I am not in New York full time. Like, making those videos, it'll be fun to look back on when I'm 80 years old, but it kind of felt like a little bit of a falsifying of what was happening. Like, it's a struggle for me. I am not as young as a lot of the girls that are going out for these things. I have a pretty, like, some people tell me I look exotic, but I think I look pretty basic. The modeling world right now is really looking for people who are different, and I don't know that I fit that super well at the moment. And I even thought about chopping my hair off before Fashion Week, and I just decided that won't match any of my pictures, so that's probably not a great idea. Basically, I guess I just wanted to have this refresher video on my page just to simply say, speaking as a 31-year-old model who was mostly in Ohio, kind of part-time somewhat in New York when possible. It's extremely tough. I would never not tell anyone to model because I think you never know what's around the corner, and people make it big all the time, and some people, people are super successful. But I guess I would just always preface, like, you really need to have a strong base and, like, strong will to do these things. Even if you take a step back, or if you feel that eventually it's not a good fit for you, that doesn't make you weak. That's something that I have to tell myself constantly. When I feel like I'm taking a step back, or feel like I'm like trying to self-preserve and I'm not going to New York, I feel like a failure instantly. But I also have to do what I think is best. Like, at the end of this trip, it might have been for no reason. You also can't get jobs unless you're in the city, usually. So it's just kind of a fine balance of deciding what's worth it and what's not. And as I get older, it becomes very apparent what is not worth it, because I have things at home that are very much a priority. At a point, it also kind of becomes like the conversation of how long are you willing to hang on to this dream of something that may or may not happen. Basically, to sum up, modeling is hard. If you need to quit at any point, or take a break, or stop, or reconfigure your life because it's driving you a little crazy and you don't know what to do, I feel you. I've been there. I am there right now. I'm not saying I'm quitting. I probably will never stop, because it truly makes me who I am. I may or may not vlog the rest of this trip. I don't know if I have it in me. I literally have footage from last September when I was here during Fashion Week, and I vlogged everything like normal, and I cannot bring myself to edit it. Coming to New York and not getting anything is very painful, despite all of the YouTube stuff that we see with like a day in my life, a week in my life. Like, I'm booking all these things for some people, yes, and great, run with it. That's amazing. It is really hard out here, and if you're successful, like, amazing. But for a lot of us, that is not the case, and I just want to bring some light to that and basically just kind of level set and be a little bit more realistic that when I come for Fashion Week, it's a mental battle. I'm going to rock some computer work for the rest of the afternoon, and then hopefully get myself out of this funk. So, see you guys later.